It was a cold autumn morning in Boston. The sun had barely risen, and the golden light spilled gently over the quiet neighborhoods as the city yawned into motion. Most people were still tucked into their warm beds or sipping their first coffee of the day. But in a small neighborhood park near Beacon Hill, something unusual caught the eye of Jonathan Hale, a man not used to noticing such things. Jonathan was a billionaire. Not in the self-made, motivational story kind of way, but in the born-into-it, trust fund by 12 kind of way. He had inherited Hale Industries, a massive real estate empire, and his name was often mentioned in business magazines and charity galas, though he rarely attended the latter. That morning, he had taken a detour from his usual chauffeur-driven commute and decided to walk to clear his mind. A recent failed engagement and a growing sense of emptiness had been weighing on him, though he wouldn't have admitted it to anyone. As he strolled past the playground, he noticed something odd, a small bundle curled up at the base of the slide. At first, he thought it was a pile of clothes someone had left behind. But as he got closer, he realized it was a little girl. Maybe 7 or 8 years old. Her face was smudged, her jacket torn, and her tiny arms were wrapped tightly around a faded teddy bear. She was fast asleep, her breath forming tiny clouds in the air. Jonathan froze. This wasn't something he was used to seeing, not in his world of penthouses, boardrooms, and catered dinners. 1,000 questions ran through his mind. Where were her parents? Why was she here, alone, in the cold? Should he call the police? But something deeper stirred in him, a long-buried instinct, one his mother used to teach him before the world hardened him. Compassion. He knelt down gently beside her, trying not to wake her, but she stirred. Her eyes fluttered open, wide and frightened. "It's okay," Jonathan said softly. "I won't hurt you. Are you all right?" The girl didn't answer. She sat up quickly, clutching the bear tighter. "I'm not gonna take anything from you," he added, his voice shaky with unfamiliar emotion. "I'm Jonathan. What's your name?" She hesitated. "Lily." "How old are you, Lily?" "8, she whispered. "I think." Jonathan's chest tightened. "Where's your family?" Lily looked away. "Don't have one." He sat back on the bench nearby, trying to wrap his mind around what he was hearing. Lily explained, in bits and pieces, that her mother had passed away 2 years ago from cancer. Since then, she had bounced between shelters and a distant aunt who didn't want her. Eventually, she ran away. She had been sleeping in parks and hiding during the day, surviving on scraps and the occasional kindness of strangers. Jonathan listened, stunned. He had spent fortunes on vacation homes he never visited, watches he never wore, and wines he didn't even like. And here was this child. Sleeping on concrete. Without hesitation, he offered to take her somewhere warm. Lily was hesitant at first, but hunger and exhaustion overtook fear. He brought her to a nearby diner. She devoured pancakes and eggs like she hadn't eaten in days. Watching her, something inside Jonathan shifted, something deep and permanent. That day changed everything. He didn't send her to an orphanage. Instead, he hired a lawyer, got social workers involved, and ensured she had everything she needed: clean clothes, medical checkups, and a safe place to sleep. At first, Lily stayed in the guest wing of his estate, overwhelmed by the marble floors and golden chandeliers. But it wasn't the luxury that made her feel safe, it was Jonathan sitting by her bedside, reading stories at night, and remembering how to smile. In helping her, Jonathan found something he hadn't felt in years: purpose. The news got out eventually. A billionaire had taken in a homeless girl from a playground. Headlines called it a PR stunt. Social media speculated endlessly. But neither Jonathan nor Lily cared. The bond they shared couldn't be captured in clickbait or gossip columns. Months passed. Lily thrived. She returned to school, made friends, and began drawing again, something she loved but had given up on during her time on the streets. She even painted a picture of the park where she'd been found. In it, she drew herself on the slide, and next to her, a tall man with a kind smile holding out his hand. Years later, Jonathan legally adopted her. But it wasn't just Lily who had been saved. Jonathan, too, was transformed. He started a foundation for homeless children, investing not just his wealth but his time. He downsized his lifestyle, sold off unnecessary properties, and poured his energy into causes he had once ignored. At a gala fundraiser, years later, Lily, now a confident teenager, stood on stage and told their story. She looked across the crowd and said, "The world is full of people who walk past. But sometimes, just sometimes, someone stops. That's all it takes to change a life. One person. One act of kindness." The room was silent. And then, slowly, it erupted in applause. Many had come expecting glamour, they left with hope. What happened next did break hearts, but not in the way the headline promised. It broke the hardened parts, the cynical parts, the parts that forgot how powerful one moment of humanity could be. And in the middle of it all were a little girl who once had no one, and a rich man who thought he had everything, until he realized what really mattered.